20 minutes, more or less.
Yeah, so we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the second workshop for the day and the third one for the hackathon workshop series. We have with us Cameron from Rally Protocol, who will be talking about building mobile apps with Rally. So, yeah, super excited once again. We've got our coffee, although being on the different sides of the world. But yeah, always a GM moment for us. So, yeah,
GM,
Cameron,
everyone. Happy Friday.
GM everyone. Yeah, Cameron, feel free to share some opening thoughts for the builders watching this today, and then let's hop on to what you have for the builders.
Yeah, great. So I'm primarily going to be talking about creating mobile dApps on Polygon. I think that this is something that I'm very passionate about, that our team's passionate about. But I think mobile and crypto has gotten pretty hot the last couple of weeks with friend tech. So I'm excited to be presenting it. And yeah, if anyone's watching this and has any comments or just want to talk generally about like Web3 mobile development, like I have my contact and everything at the end, reach out. I think it's a very exciting time to be building in this space. So I'm going to present to you our SDK and any feedback or anything else you'd like to see built, like we're all ears. So that's kind of my intro.
Perfect, Cameron. Let's go then.
All right, let's go. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. All right. Okay, so once again, I'm Cameron. I'm a network architect, software architect on the Rally Protocol team. And I'll be talking about how to create mobile dApps with our SDK. That's a QR code, probably pretty hard to grab it from the screen. But if you want to access our docs, you can go to docs.rallyprotocol.com to follow along with the presentation. So first off, like kind of what are we trying to accomplish at Rally Protocol? I like to say it's 2023 and we need to start talking about making dApp development mobile first. Kind of over the last 10 years, while we've seen this kind of paradigm shift in like trustless, decentralized compute with blockchains, that's unlocked a lot of things from like a like blockchain technology perspective, but at the same time, if you observe application development in the Web 2 space, everything has kind of gone from like desktop to mobile there. And in crypto, we're kind of stuck in the browser still. And I think that that's probably because initially when crypto and blockchains were being developed, the most talented developers were creating the actual protocols. And the applications were often an afterthought. Like here's an interface to this protocol. We're using a browser extension wallet, and hey, it works, but there wasn't a lot of thought about the UX. So we're very focused on like kind of migrating the application layer and like getting everyone thinking about mobile first app development so that the applications that we see in crypto are kind of on par with the Web 2 applications. Next slide. So this is for, we're here to talk about a lot of the like EMEA Polygon hackathon. Before the hackathon started, Sandeep from Polygon tweeted this out kind of with their general view of tech over the next several years. He says that AI is transforming every industry. ZK Tech will secure the data and scale trustless computation of business logic, and that Web3 builders can realize applications on mobile devices that billions use. We're very aligned with Polygon in this view. And I think it's important to realize that, you know, with browser extension wallets and such, you can reach about maybe 1 million users. With secure apps built on mobile devices, you can reach really any mobile device or mobile user in the world. And that's kind of what we're focused on. If you've been at crypto conferences lately, a lot of the talk is about L2s, faster, cheaper transactions, as well as account abstraction, both of which are like amazing. And like, I'm glad that's all happening. There's been less talk about mobile. And I think that's kind of the third tenet of this shift of like mainstream adoption. So let's jump into our SDK. Just kind of like what our SDK does, what are some of our like core tenets. It's React Native right now. Potentially we'll build for Flutter in the future, also Unity. As we see demand, we will kind of build into that. We want to create familiar mobile UX for developers so they can do things like add an infinite scroll to their mobile app. We make it really easy to create secure, performant accounts on a device. You don't need to use Ethers.js in Hermes environment. If you've ever built a React Native Dapp, you've probably run into some performance issues there, or just had to kind of like hack around that. So that's a pretty big headache. And lastly, a lot of people in this space have talked about gasless transactions and how it pertains to ERC 4337, et cetera. We enable gasless transactions right from the SDK. So you can start onboarding users and sending transactions immediately straight from your mobile Dapp. Next slide, a couple more kind of things that are very important to us in how we've designed the SDK. We don't want users bouncing from the app. One of the kind of existing mobile design paradigms we see is a user downloads an app, they have to go from their app to an external wallet app to approve something. And in some cases, they have to go from the app to an exchange to buy tokens, to send those tokens to the mobile wallet application, and then approve a transaction in the app. That can be like a 3-hour round trip. It can be like 30 minutes. Either way, I think there's a lot of potential for like user churn there. So we really want to get rid of that. So your user stays in the app, can use a wallet there, and isn't leaving you. We want to make sure that users don't have to understand private key management if they don't want to. There's things you can do as a developer to like allow them to understand that, but if they don't want to, it's not something that they should need to understand. And lastly, we want to make sure that users do not need tokens to pay for gas, because like as a normal user using a mobile application, and someone tells you to like pay for gas, you're like, I'm not in a car right now, I don't know what that is. So again, we want it to create kind of these seamless app experiences without users having to know about all of these kind of crypto jargony things. So what does this look like? How do you start building the important stuff? So if you're getting started, you could create a React Native app using the React Native CLI, npx React Native init demo, and then you just install our SDK using the command there. Something that we are going to be doing soon is creating our own CLI tool that will allow you to create kind of a basic template of a React Native Dapp. So you can immediately just run npx create React Native Dapp or something like that, and your whole app is scaffolded for you there. But let's say you ran these couple of commands. What does that give you? I'm going to exit the presentation now. Here's some code. So this is just a very basic React Native application. You see you imported some things from our SDK. 1 second, bounced out of there. The first thing we'll see is we're using the Rally Mumbai network for testing purposes. You're going to need an API key to interact with our API for gasless transactions. The next things I'm going to show you this on the application running, but just so you know, we're creating an account, and the account is a EOA stored on the device. We just need that one line of code there to create an account. I'm doing some benchmarking here so you can see how long that takes. And I'm also going to call this function from Ethers.js that you'd typically use to create a random wallet in the JavaScript environment, and we'll see how long that takes. And then lastly, we're just going to call a simple function here, gaslessly. You see like that works with one line. And so that's kind of this is the most basic app you could build with our SDK. Let's see what that looks like kind of live. Where am I? Okay, so here's the app screen. Just going to reload it. Have the Metro React Native environment running here. we have a couple of very beautiful buttons in the app. First, we're going to create an account with the Rally SDK. And that happens, you can see that took about almost 200 milliseconds. And again, that's creating an EOA on the device. It, as you can see, it's very performant. It was very fast. It's encrypting it with a key in the secure enclave, and then it's storing it on the device. Optionally, you can back that key up to service like iCloud on iOS or the equivalent on Android. Now we're going to create an account with Ethers.js, and I'm a huge Ethers.js user. I love it. It just doesn't run very well in the Hermes operating system. So let's just see, like, this is going to take a second. And you'll see, like, this is what you'd experience if, as a JavaScript developer, you just started creating a React Native app using the tools that you're familiar with. Your user would have enough time to listen to their favorite song, maybe mint an NFT elsewhere, or do something like that while they wait for this process to run. So hopefully it finishes soon, but also hopefully you're seeing the experience your users would have and the pain that they'd feel in doing that. So here we go. The Ethers wallet took 31 seconds to create. So as you see, like, using just our basic account creation, the account's created very quickly. And as I mentioned before, it's a very securely stored account on your device. So next, we're just gonna send a gasless transaction from the account. As you saw, all we did was create this ECDSA private public key pair. I haven't gone to an exchange. I haven't sent any tokens to this newly created address there, but now I'm going to send a transaction. So let's do that. That'll take a little bit longer. So we're sending that actually to a chain, and we're waiting for the transaction to confirm. Obviously, you could abstract that a little bit from the user, but as you see, it wasn't that long. I was trying to add some filler comments there, but it actually executed pretty fast. And now we can see the transaction. Let's just note this public key here, and we'll view this transaction. This will open Mumbai Polygon scan, and you can see that tokens were transferred from our address, or to our address from a faucet address. And so this demo is just showing, very quickly, you can create an app, and with 2 clicks, you have a new wallet, a new account for your user, and you can transact immediately without any native tokens. So that's pretty cool. Let's hop back to the presentation and kind of walk through the SDK a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk, it's a developer presentation, so I'm gonna talk about some of the specific functions and methods you can call on our SDK. For account creation, the most important one is create account, which you just saw. After the account's created, if you call get account, it will return the wallet address for the current user. And if you need to delete the account, there's a method to do that as well. And as I've said a couple times, the account is managed with native code, so it's super fast, much faster than JavaScript. It's encrypted on the secure enclave and backed up to the cloud. So from my opinion, this is about as close as you can get to a hardware wallet on a mobile device. And so if you compare that security to something like a browser extension, it's infinitely more secure. And I think that, there are still a lot of everyone's launching smart contract wallets now. I think those are amazing, and we're going to talk about how we can support them a little bit later on the presentation. But I still think EOAs are super powerful, and I think this is one of the most secure way to store them. And it's also very friendly to your user. So I think that's really cool. The next thing is how we manage gasless transactions. First of all, we have wrappers for sending ERC20 tokens. If you call this transfer function, that I'll get into this a little bit on the next slide. That will you can specify what token you want to transfer if it's supported by the SDK, and gaslessly transfer those tokens from one address to the next. Similarly, you can get the balance for any token, which is pretty straightforward. We have a token that you can feel free to use in your app, and any user can claim 10 of our tokens, RLY token, by calling claim RLY, which is something you can just give users to allow them to do something with immediately in their app. The last thing is we have this relay function, which is more of a general transaction relay function. So if you have your own contracts, or you want to call other contracts that in some way support meta transactions, you can use this relay function to gaslessly relay any kind of arbitrary contract method, which is super powerful. And in a couple minutes, I'll show you another app that I made that uses this. So as I said, here's our transfer function is basically wrapped around the ERC20 transfer function. You just need to specify destination address, amount, the contract address, and then this is done using meta transactions, and specifically with the gas station network. So if you're using an ERC20 token, it must somehow support meta transactions, either through the execute meta transaction method that's on most of the Polygon ERC20 tokens, or you can call the permit function, which is more kind of generally used in the Ethereum ecosystem. So you'd specify which one of those methods you're using there as the last argument in the transfer function. And this is actually interesting. As I was pulling this presentation together a couple of weeks ago, one of the engineers from Coinbase tweeted out that they had recently launched gasless USDC transactions on Polygon, and that they do it using meta transactions. I think this is super cool because, as this tweet says, people are very into, and I think, again, it's amazing using gasless transactions with smart contract wallets on EIP with EIP 4337, but meta transactions are another way to do this with EOAs. And so it's one of those things where the old tech, I think, is still cool, but we need to use the old tech and the new tech. Anyway, out of the box, you get kind of ERC20 gasless transactions, similar to how they would be done in Coinbase wallet. And then I talked about this before. This is our relay function. This allows you to kind of relay any arbitrary transaction from any contract that either supports some sort of meta transaction or is an ERC 2771 recipient. I'm not going to get into exactly what that means in this presentation, but you can check it out in our docs. But making your contracts ERC 2771, making it an ERC 2771 recipient is very straightforward. So if you're launching new contracts, that should be very easy for you. Okay, now a little bit about using the EOA that we created in the demo, or any EOA you create with our app SDK, how you can use it for just general wallet stuff. We expose methods for signing transactions, signing messages, signing typed data, and we just added getting wallet. The first three are pretty straightforward. That's what you'd expect on any interface to an Ethereum wallet. The last one that returns to you the Ethers.js wallet object for the current account that's in use, which can then be used in any way you need. So if you need a signer for a certain function or something like that, you can use that. And I mean, with that stuff, you could build any sort of wallet experience. You could create a smart contract wallet signer. You can do just anything that needs offline signing. And if you want to use something that doesn't use gasless transactions, for example, you can sign and broadcast your transactions directly from your application. All right. So as I said, with our SDK, you can create these very secure EOAs on device and then send gasless transactions. what does this kind of enable? I think one of the most interesting things is combining mobile APIs on the device with crypto primitives. So what can you do with location, with the camera, with voice, and how can you like kind of fold that into like crypto primitives? I think there's an interesting design space there. And then, as I said at the very beginning of the presentation, I hope we can start seeing people build mobile first. And I think that, again, during this kind of crypto cycle, I think we're laying a lot of the infrastructure to onboard kind of the next wave of crypto users with mobile apps, which I think is super cool. And then, as I just mentioned in the last slide, you can create new types of wallets with this SDK. And with this kind of secure EOA on the device, you can use that as a signer to a smart contract wallet. You could very easily just deploy a smart contract wallet for the user, have it like set up as like a one-to-one signer, or you could set up like a multi-sig scheme. There's a lot of things you can do there. All right, this is something that I built, NFT camera app. I'm going to exit the presentation again and just kind of show you what happens there. Spoiler alert, it does exactly what it says. It's an application that allows you to take pictures with your phone and then immediately turn them into NFTs. This is still a little bit rough, but you'll get the idea here. 1 second. Okay, so I need to just start a couple of things here. Get the app going, the server going, and that should open an Expo app on the phone. I need to stop the other server. Second. All right. Try that again. Okay, here we go. Got this Expo app floating. All right, here we go. NFT camera app, and you can see like I just logged the address of the current user here. We're gonna take a picture. This is just kind of like spoofing the camera so it can run on the emulator, but if you ran it on a device, it would use the actual camera. This calls like a API that returns fake images. So as I said, it's kind of spoofing the camera interaction, but for our case, I think it's great. It returned an image of some delicious looking bacon. So let's give this a caption. This is basically Instagram here. So amazing looking bacon, yay. So that'll be the caption of your photo. And then we're gonna decide how many of these can be minted. Let's say 10. And we're gonna set a fee that can be paid in Matic for this NFT. So let's say 5. And now we're gonna create an NFT. Let's go. So first thing that's happening here, and this is stuff that can be like sent to the background so it doesn't block the UI, but I'm uploading the metadata to Bundler Network, and now I'm gaslessly calling the chain to create a new token. Should be an NFT. Again, that'll take a couple seconds. Waiting for that to confirm. And boom, success. Look at my beautiful design here. Share your NFT with your friends. We're going to click on that link in a second, but first we're just going to see that every user has an ERC 1155 contract launch for them where their NFTs are stored. This user has been on the device for 3 days, so it happened a few days ago, but if it hadn't, they would have just like deployed this contract, and that all happens like gaslessly behind the scenes. Which is pretty amazing. Like, I think for me, I've been working in like kind of the Ethereum space since 2017. Thinking about gaslessly deploying a contract from a device would be something that seemed like completely crazy like 5 years ago. So I think I personally think that's pretty cool. Might be like on the nerdy side, but okay. And then so when you click this link, we should be taken to a Mint page. Might take a second to load, but let's see. Here we go. Again, my beautiful design and artwork. This is actually a website, so it's outside of the app. I think that if you think about how you'd want to like structure an application where the mobile app is kind of the supply side of these NFTs, and then the consumption side could happen in a browser because the potential like users that can use it with Wallet Connect, etc., are like a lot bigger. So you can connect your wallet. You've been sent an NFT photo, mint it now. There's my caption, and then we could just click that and mint it with 5matic. So that's NFT camera app. And again, I think this just kind of highlights some things that we build with our SDK. I guess one other thing, let me just show you how you can gaslessly relay an arbitrary transaction. Like this is the transaction to set up a new NFT. I just kind of grabbed an instance of the contract. This is the ERC 1155 contract. I called populate transaction on it to get the raw transaction back, got gas estimate, and then I'm basically building what amounts to like a normal transaction object and sending it to our relay function, and then that's getting like gaslessly relayed. So that's how that happens. And then again, this is almost the same exact code, but for sending deploying a ERC 1155 contract from our factory, which again, that's like amazing that you can just deploy contracts on the fly from a mobile device. All right. So that's that. Let's jump back into the presentation. Okay. Slideshow. So we just did that. So this is kind of our roadmap and how we're thinking about things, where we're at right now. Developer has a choice of launching an EOA on the device and then using we use Gas Station Network for relaying these EOA-based transactions. That's where we're at right now. It should cover most use cases for users as is. We are very bullish on ERC 4337. So kind of the next thing we're going to do is support smart contract wallets. So the developer will have an option between launching an EOA on the device and or launching a smart contract wallet, where the EOA could be used as a signer in the smart contract wallet. And in that case, we'd be using kind of the similar paymaster setup that we're using in GSN to sponsor and relay transactions with ERC 4337. Outside of that, we want to add more kind of boilerplate code to the SDK for supporting things just like NFTs, ERC 1155 contracts, soulbound tokens. Wherever we see kind of demand there and can make developers' lives easier, we'll like do that. And then more generally, I think there's a lot of things that we can do just with the public-private key pairs that are interesting in crypto. One of our engineers right now is working on an example of a ZK game on mobile, which we think will be one of the first to use that ZK technology in a mobile game. And so I think there'll be room for people to do stuff there. I'm personally very interested in XMTP and like wallet-to-wallet chat. And I think that could be like a feature of every mobile Dapp. And, another thing we could potentially support, and I'm just kind of like brainstorming here, is, PWAs have been really big and in the news lately. Our SDK is JavaScript, PWAs are JavaScript. There's a couple things to like kind of harness there, but we could also create tooling around PWAs. So that's that. And I think that pretty much concludes the presentation. I would love to talk to anybody that's interested, obviously in our SDK, and if they need help with using it, but also again, I think that this is a pretty special time in mobile application development in crypto, with Friendtech launching and people getting into PWAs. I'm happy to discuss all of this with people. I think it's all really interesting. So you can reach out to me on Twitter. That's my Twitter handle. I've been casting on Farcaster a lot lately. That's my Farcaster handle. And then this QR code is my XMTP address, so you can message me there. Be glad to get messages there. So that's it. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Cameron. The comment section seems clear for now, so looks like everyone is on board. Yeah.
All right.
Also, for everyone watching, our team also has been kind enough to put down Cameron's Twitter on the comment section on the live chat, so you can also pick it up from there. You can also reach out to me on Telegram, Twitter at Mishika251. In case if there's any help you need with the process of the hackathon or anything related to the platform. So feel free to do that. And thank you everyone for joining in. Thanks a lot, Cameron.
Yep. Can I say one more
Appreciate
thing?
that a lot. Yes, please.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned the hackathon. I just wanted to say we're sponsoring bounties in the hackathon. We have like $10,000 of bounties, so you can check that stuff out at the hackathon website. And again, just like let us know if you have questions. That's it.
Yeah, perfect. 10,000 by rally and total prize pool of $80K dollars. So yeah, this would be a great opportunity to give your DApp a head start and get mentored by these amazing folks. Yeah, that's all for this workshop, and we've got the ball rolling. We've got 3 workshops in our hood for now. So thanks for joining. Thanks, Cameron, for hosting this. And yeah, everyone have a good day wherever you are in the world.
Yeah, and happy Friday to people on all time zones.
Okay. Thanks, Cameron. Bye. Bye, guys.